I'm not actually originally from a dance music background. Did sort of guitar-y stuff in Liverpool and fell into the dance music thing a bit later because I was always actually a keyboard sort of synthesizer guy. There was that point in the mid-90s where it was assumed that if you could DJ, because of this thing I was talking about, the sort of awareness of new tunes coming and that finger on the pulse, that even if you couldn't literally, you couldn't touch a piano, you sort of like, what? If your musicality was that just reduced, it didn't matter because you knew about what was cool, and as long as you were put near people who could like touch pianos without fainting, then you were a great remix outfit. And so that was the premise of the 90s remix boom, really, to just get the DJs, put them near people who can touch music, and it will all be fine. And so that kind of was how it started, and so I could touch music quite safely. And he wasn't bad either, to be fair, but he'd come from this DJ side, and so that was kind of how it happened, so that's why I got into it. Why are there remixes? Why do you get asked to do them? Really, they didn't exist for years and years and years. You made a record, you said there's the record, they put it on a piece of plastic and they sold it, and that was it. Nobody said, it really needs to be twice as fast with a bongo. You had the American idea of a remix, the very sort of staid, kind of big 48-track posh studio where it was like, well, if the snare is like twice as big and we repeat the verse without the voice once at the beginning, once at the end, it's like 6 minutes long, you can dance longer to it. What it also is now, in this day and age, now that the money's different, is you used to get paid lots of money to do big bands. Nowadays, now that the money's sort of all different and all gone weird, it's actually more like, co-branding is the sort of the big, big trendy thing to do these days, like sort of put, Beyonce next to Pepsi and all this stuff, and like say, Beyonce's great and Pepsi's great, and actually together, they're fantastic. That's what remixing is nowadays, it's a co-brand. You say, I'm this, I'm King League in this case, and over here is, let's say, Uncle. Which I've just done a remix for, so I kind of did the Uncle thing as a co-brand, absolutely brilliant. So before you say yes to a remix, these are the things you've got to check. Who's going to promo it? Where's it going to go? Is the artist you're working with going to actually sort of know how to sell? And you've got to make sure it's going to get exposed where you want it to get exposed. Just the biggest question is, do I like this tune? It's like a huge question. If you wrote it in like flaming letters, it couldn't be big enough. And so then you decide you like it and the payoff enough, and so you go back and you say, yes, I'm going to remix this record. That's good, yeah. So what parts do you get? There was a period where like it was very sort of fashionable just to get a vocal and go, that bollocks, I'm a genius, so I'll write it. And I never liked that. I always thought it was actually really good to say, I want everything. I want the master tapes, I want the demos, I want the bad vocals and the good vocals, I want the comped vocals. Go in now, you've got the parts, and find out what's going on there that's actually working sort of in the version you had. Go and see, is it that actually you didn't realise, but quietly, 9 violins come in, and that's actually what you were picking up on. Just go through and find out the bits that you really liked, it hooked you into the tune, what's going on, and analyse it closer than you expect. Because in essence, what you're trying to do is like sort of find out what it is in this song that is good. And it's sometimes less obvious than you imagine. It might be like a really great catchy vocal, but it's probably being backed up by like the other people, the parts are going to be doing something which is making that moment sort of happen. As a remixer, it's kind of a bit of a shame if you miss what was making the sort of good bits and just go, it's the great vocals, and bin the rest. Do go through and work out why what was good. So so don't sort of, when you're sat there with this huge tracks and you're throwing away the crap stuff and you kept the good stuff, don't then go to your kick drum library and go boom, boom, boom. Just go through good records. Get a drum loop. Just even if you're not going to use the final thing, just get a vibe going quickly. Okay. Even if you're going to retain a song format at the end of it, rather than going right, I've got a great drum loop, putting it across 6 minutes. Now I've got a great cymbal loop. Don't do that. Okay. Get 1, 2, 4, 8 bars working. Find 8 bars. You can draw from anywhere in the track. Chop things around. You want to use their bass line right. Your bass line whatever it might be. Come down to 1, 2, 4, 8 bars, wherever it works, and start building your tune there, okay, at the beginning of the screen. So you get that done. And then the arrangement. Parts, you need to be able to kind of sort of look at a tune and go, what's making that work is that essentially, regardless of how it's fucking done, so energy comes up here, and the bass line sort of comes out, and then the vocal kind of suggests the following key change. That's how it's done. And then sort of do it yourself. Try and analyse how music works. And a great way to analyse how music works is to play it with your computer screen on a nice screensaver blurry pattern, and with a pad and paper, and to write it down. Just kind of go. So if you've got no idea, you've been told you've got 3 days, it's got to be great and fantastic. Steal somebody else's arrangement. Don't be shy, because this is the key thing for anybody who feels kind of bad and like I can't do this. I've proved this like got 70 odd fucking remixes we've done, and nobody's ever come back and said, it was Thingy's record. That's what you started with. Nobody's ever done it because A, you don't ever make the exact same thing. You will always tweak it because once you reach a certain point, having used this as a springboard, you'll go, that's not long enough. I can just tell it needs to go there. And you'll start changing it, and then you are the predominant element in anything you make. Don't worry about nicking other people's stuff because you will still be all over the fucking record. In dance music, I think quite early on, you need to kind of give yourself the tools on the screen to start making kind of large changes with either effects in the way of, you know, plugins, reverbs, delays, fucking strange bit crushes, whatever. Because it's very dramatic and very quickly will give you a vibe, and you'll find that on this thing again of nicking, if you're sort of sat there and you know that this track by, you know, band X you're ripping off kind of sort of in a kind of fascinating yet weird way kind of wets out and goes all floaty fucker, then sort of dry, and that's like an amazing moment. Well, you know, they might have done it part by part by part, but chances are it will be some sort of global work on the effects and so on. So the thing to do is to give yourself these facilities on the screen quite early on. Don't sort of go miles down the track and then go, God, I've almost finished. Now I'm going to sort of create these things. It's just like, no, get them in quickly because you'll be more satisfied with what you're doing quickly. It'll sound finished quicker. This is a key thing, that the sort of quicker it starts feeling like you kind of listening to the finished record, the more you're going to be sort of going, oh yeah, this is cool, and then, you know, vibes come and all that's good. Curiously enough, on one of these arrangement windows that we all use these days, good remixes, I'm not quite sure why this is, but they often look like a Space Invader. So like some kind of weird little, like they kind of like start out a bit skinny and then they kind of get all fat, and all the kind of weird sort of like legs dangle down, where it's all the little parts with the special effects and the sort of the cymbals and the crashes, and you often end up with like something that kind of looks like this on your screen made out of blocks of audio, and that's a good sign. If it's kind of like sort of like a big wall, you fucked up. If it's kind of bow tie shaped, you've made a very strange record. It should probably kind of get a bit fatter as it goes across, have some dangly wiggly bits and the odd sort of gap, like holes for the eyes where the drops are, and you're taking parts out and the track gets a bit kind of like a bit emptier, and then it kind of gets fat again in the middle, another eye, then it kind of skinnies out, and then you're done. So Space Invaders as a sort of a shape on the screen, I've noticed over years are a good sign. Yeah, that's the basic, yeah, that's the sort of broad spectrum idea of what is a remix and why you do it and how it's done.